Hello there and welcome to another video, and today we're going to be playing Pig Entrepreneur, and I'm going to kind of do a slightly different editing style than I normally do. I normally just speed up the video ahead of time and then, talk as the video goes along, but I think I'm going to slow it down because I've noticed over, the past couple videos that sometimes I've got a lot to say and not enough time to say it, and then other times there's just absolutely nothing going on and I kind of have to just use a lot of filler to get through it. So we're going to start off with a somewhat interesting start that, isn't something that I would typically do, but it's just a shield page with a dagger, and it works out fine for us. I kind of like this just because shield page is such a good early game hero or early game unit that I kind of like to pick it up, and when I've got the extra sword to go along with it, it's usually a pretty safe buy, especially when you're playing a character that has 3 attacks. And then we're gonna cast another spell and grab the other character that I really like to get in the early levels, which is Angel Cat. And not only does it pair well with the shield page, giving lots and lots of HP, it kind of just, they combine to give you a really solid but also pretty attainable early game. And we're even going to triple up this shield page just because it, we can even grab a wishing fountain, and the earlier you get that, the better. And it doesn't really make us that much weaker to upgrade a shield page as opposed to, upgrading like a frog prince or something like that. And then from here, I think we have a pretty solid direction going into dwarves. We've got Consti and Ori, I think her name is, and it's just 2 really strong units in the early game, and it gives us the option to pivot into something more dwarf oriented in the future, although typically I'm not going to try and stay in dwarves unless I get the perfect setup for it. So we're gonna go ahead and go into the next fight feeling pretty strong, but this guy's got he's got a huge farm stat front line, and he's just able to easily overpower our high health front line and just kind of demolish our board. And it kind of sucks, but sometimes it happens. And I actually am gonna hold for this vampiric dagger right here, which I don't think is probably the right play. In hindsight, I probably should have just grabbed the farmer, but it works out and we tie, and we get a choice of a treasure. And here it's a tough choice. I generally wouldn't want to take a baby mimic at this point in the game, but the other two just, they don't really give us all that much of a power spike, and I kind of want a power spike, so I'm hoping that, maybe I can grab an Ori triple or something like that, and we can get a pretty solid baby mimic level 3 treasure or something like that. But instead of that, I end up just going for the high risk, high reward, grab the item and then bank 3 gold, because we're going into level 4 next turn. So it's kind of a risky play, but I think it's kind of decent. And we end up, tying the fight, so it's just fine. And then I'm going to do something that I do all the time, and sometimes it pays off, sometimes it doesn't. Right here, I think it pays off plenty, because we end up getting a Hermes as our level 5 treasure, and with a shield page behind it, there's just an incredible chance that it's going to be able to slay and then slay again, and we can really get the ball rolling on this. So I'm thinking maybe we've got a potential slay comp going on, or I don't know exactly what we've got, but at the very least I'm thinking that we're going to be able to do some nice tempo stuff with this. So we'll go ahead and cast one more spell, and then we're heading off into the next fight, where we hit the absolute worst case scenario. This guy's got I think it's mana crystal or something like that, where they get a bunch of extra stats, and we can't slay at all, and we even end up losing the fight with what we originally thought was going to be a really solid power spike. But yeah, we're gonna do maybe another questionable play, although really I still think it's fine, because this next opponent isn't crazy strong, and we can be going into 5 this next turn. So I think this is actually a fairly decent play. I mean, just because we lost one fight doesn't necessarily mean that our board isn't still incredibly strong. We just happened to go against somebody who was high rolling just a little bit stronger than us. But yeah, we go into the next fight, and here we can finally get our slay. We can't get both of the slays, but you know, it's better than nothing, and our husky in the back that we were able to pick up is going to be more than enough to give us another win. And in our next shop, we actually get a sea witch, which sort of, you know, reaffirms our kind of going for slay idea. And then we get a husky triple as well, which is great. And we have a pirate map in it, which I want to take the pirate map really bad. The problem is one of our treasures is a mimic, and mimicking pirate map can be strong, but at the same time it means it's going to be a long time since we're actually going to be able to get it. And on top of that, we don't really want to roll, because if we roll, we'll lose all of our we'll lose all of our XP. So I think I'm just gonna get the Rune of Ascending Power, which is still good. It's maybe not quite as exciting, but I think it's the smarter choice in this situation. We're pretty strong, and this should just, you know, help us guarantee some slays and just generally keep winning. And you know, we're up against a ghost this fight anyway, so hopefully things will be just fine. Getting some slays in this next fight will be pretty important for getting us kind of started later on, and we do end up getting not just one but both of the slays on our Hermes, which is great. And we even pick up a Klecknoris in the next shop, which is just perfect, considering, you know, we can't roll for it, or at least we don't particularly want to roll for it. So we go ahead and pick that up, and we fiddle around with our board. And in hindsight, I probably should have left the Hermes in the front line. I kind of wanted to, you know, get my Klecknoris going first, because I, you know, really want to prioritize that slay. But when the Hermes is in the back, it's not actually benefiting from the Sea Witch's aura. So yeah, in hindsight, that was not a really good idea, and I think I end up fixing it here in this next fight. But we're level 6 now, so you know, we want to find something decent, but we also don't want to roll that bad. And the really nice thing about playing Pig Entrepreneur and having Piggy Bank is we don't actually have to roll. So we'll give it one more, probably just one roll, just because, you know, it's best if we find something, but we're not going to find anything, and we'll go straight into the next fight and pick up a pretty solid win. And here we get an option of 3 level 5 treasures that I generally value pretty highly. Hero Mask and Hero Helix are both really solid, but the problem is we're playing Pig Entrepreneur and they don't actually give us anything at this exact moment. So I'm actually going to end up going with the Philosopher's Stone, because we can always put our Sea Witch there on the last slot, and it'll, you know, give us a really solid boost. And now we're just looking for something. Another Sea Witch is solid, but we're stuck on 5 now, so there's not a huge amount that we actually care about. Getting a Sea Witch triple would just make us weaker. Additional Hermes can be pretty decent, and the only other thing is maybe like a Narcissus right there that we found, just so that we can get another level 5 treasure, because level 5 treasures, particularly when you're playing Slay, is very valuable. And then we'll sell something so that we're at 24 gold. You want to make sure that you're at a multiple of 6, and then we'll go into the next fight, and we'll actually end up losing. We get double slays on our Hermes, but our Klecknoris doesn't slay, and we just kind of get outstatted. So we're gonna go ahead and get out of the Pig Entrepreneur and hope that we can get something solid, and we actually get a really solid one, which is Daedalus. Daedalus is just an incredible hero to swap into later in the game, not just because he gives you an extra treasure slot, but also because, you know, later in the game you're going to be finding a triple for a higher level unit, which is why I'm actually not going to take this Ari, because I don't want to get 2 level 3s. I'd much rather get, you know, either this Narcissus or the Sea Witch, which is going to give me double level 5s. And here, you know, Elemental Swords is decent, but I think we're going to go a Symbol of Unity, just because we're going to get another chance to get another treasure, which we kind of bust on, to be honest. Fate Scissors is okay. We'll get rid of our piggy bank for that, but, you know, not super great. But we've got enough gold that we're really just going to try and pull off a cool Symbol of Unity comp. So we briefly think about the Merlin, but now we're just rolling down, and what we really want to find is an angel, because really the only thing you can do with Symbol of Unity these days, aside from, you know, some cheeky demon tempo boards that don't really scale that well, is grabbing up an angel, which we do manage to get with 1 gold to spare. So I think we're gonna actually probably hold here, because another hero swap would be really nice, and then we'll go into the next fight. And you can kind of see in this next fight how the Symbol of Unity works. Basically, you know, we're already wanting to get slays, but every time we get a slay, that Angel Commander is going to be giving her stats to other units, and then you know, the fact that we have the Sea Witch is just going to increase those slays. So we're getting to, you know, a pretty decently sized front line. The BLT from our opponent kind of puts a little bit of a dampener on our win, but we still come out with a win, and we grab another Angel Commander right after that. We're probably gonna go ahead and just skip this Auri. There's not a single level 3 treasure that I can really think of that we would care that much about. You know, Mimic might be decent, but we're at 9 health, and I don't really want to be giving up any stats just to, you know, speculate on something in the future. So we'll grab another Sea Witch, which is really good. It's especially good in a Symbol of Unity comp, just because that Sea Witch is going to be getting stats along with the rest of the board, so she becomes a really solid ranged unit. But our opponent is, you know, they look kind of a little scary. They've got a massive 500 attack good boy that we saw. So we're gonna actually go ahead and sell down and grab this purple fairy, and he's gonna increase the number of slays that we get. You know, we're already going for slays anyway, and as he increases in health, or sorry, not increases in health, but as he increases in attack, the stars that we get from slaying are gonna get much bigger. So we'll go ahead and swap the Vampiric Scepter over onto one of our Angelic Commanders, just to give it some more stats. And we really need to get a slay, and we actually missed the slay on our first try, but we get it on the next one, which is really important, and that's gonna give us just barely enough stats to kind of get through these these units with incredible attack. They had a lot of attack, but not much HP, which was kind of our saving grace there. But yeah, now we're just looking for any sort of improvement to our board. This Oberon is actually kind of an interesting choice, just because we've got the purple fairy right now. A Nocturne. Nocturne is what he's called. I always forget. Because we've got the Nocturne, and he'll just add to the extra stars. And then we get a great shop. We've got a Narcissus, which will be a level 5 treasure, and then our Angel Commander, which is going to give us a level 6 treasure. And you couldn't have asked for a better treasure than Crescent Blade for this. We're just going to be increasing the slay, not just the increased health that we get from Klecknoris and our Hermes, and even our Nocturne, which is nice, but the more important thing is we're going to be doubling the amount of attack and HP that our Angel Commander is giving to all of our other units. And in this situation, Orchestra is actually a really solid treasure. A lot of times it's, you know, it's kind of iffy as to whether or not it's really strong. But any amount of stats onto our Oberon and Angel Commander are just going to multiply exponentially. So we're gonna go ahead and move over our Angel Commander since she's upgraded, put on the Oberon, and then we're gonna even cast a Blizzard, which we're gonna need because our next opponent has a chair, which has a shield on it. So we're gonna need that if we want to slay. So we head into our next fight, and with the help of this Blizzard, hopefully we can get a slay. And yeah, they've got 2 shields there, which, you know, could potentially have thrown a little bit of a wrench in our plans, but now that we've got this kind of slay thing going on, even with an upgraded Frankenstein in the back, which potentially could have been a little bit of a problem for us, we're just gonna easily pick up the win there. And, you know, now we just need a Blizzard. We want to pick up a Blizzard, and we find one right there. So now there's really not much else that we need to do. We grab a Woman in the Moon, which, you know, it's kind of iffy as to whether or not it's better than the Sea Witch, but you know, we're gonna pick it up anyway. It's not, you know, that big a deal. In hindsight, the Sea Witch is definitely better just because it increases the number of slaves you get, and we're gonna be I don't know. I suppose it kind of depends on the situation, but I think it doesn't really matter too much. You can see our stars are just getting absolutely huge every time we get a sleigh, so that one's up to almost 4,000, and we pull out the victory pretty easily. But I still thought this was a fun game just because of, you know, Symbol of Unity isn't something that you get to go in a whole lot. I think it's a little bit of a risky treasure to pull out. Not because it's not strong in the late game, but just because, you know, you need a lot of setup for it, and it doesn't always give you a lot of help to get there, you know, unless you've got like a high demon or something like that. But anyway, hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time. Bye.